When I first started experiencing my very first perimenopause symptoms, girl, I thought I was losing my mind. And maybe you're in the early stages of perimenopause, or maybe you're trying to figure out if you're even in it or what's going on. And if that's the case, I think this story will really resonate with you. Hello, my name is Crystal, and I'm glad that you're here. So, I want to tell you my entire hormone story. And I think it will be helpful because a lot of women, I feel like, especially in those early years of perimenopause, you just don't even understand what's going on. You don't even know you're in perimenopause. You're like all of a sudden feeling great and on top of the world, and then things start changing, and you're like, what the hell is happening to me? So, I'm going to walk you through how it all went down for me and how I ended up here on YouTube talking to you about perimenopause and hormones. So I'm going to take you all the way back to 1997. Just graduated high school. I was going to college. Okay. My mantra was do not get pregnant. Come hell or high water. Do not get pregnant. So here I am in college, and I'm like, well, I need to go to the clinic and get myself some birth control because I'm finally 18. I can do what I want. So I go to the little college clinic, and it's a little crappy place, you know. And I was like, all right, I need some birth control. And pretty much they were like, sure. They gave me, I had my first pap smear, whatever. Here's your exam. Here's your pills. Use a condom. Be safe. Bye. See you later. And so it wasn't, I don't remember, I mean, that was a long time ago, but I don't remember like being warned about like here's what you could possibly experience on the pill or any of that stuff, what it's going to do. um they pretty much just gave it to me and sent me on my way. So when I finally started working my big girl job in accounting, I sought out an actual OBGYN. And then over the next, I don't know how many years, I would go regularly. I would get my birth control, even though it changed over the years. I started off on the pill, and I think I did the patch, then I did the ring, did the depot shot forever, and then ultimately I ended up on an IUD towards the very end. So I was trying all the things. But what I noticed about, again, both of these doctors, they didn't tell me anything about what it was that I was taking. I mean, yeah, they send you home with this pamphlet. It's like, here's all the possible side effects that could, go wrong. But it's not, I had no idea what the pill or the patch or whatever I was taking was doing to my body. I just knew that it prevented pregnancy, and please give me more of that. Again, my main goal was do not get pregnant. However, there's one thing that they did tell me that has stuck with me still to this day. So back then, honey, I was a chain smoker. I was smoking them cigarettes left and right. And I remember them telling me, whatever you do, once you turn 35, if you're still smoking, you can't be on birth control. And that like haunted me. And I was like, well, to hell with the birth control. I'm going to keep smoking because I was like, addicted. So, but the years went by, and that 35-year-old kind of marker just kind of stuck with me. I was like, okay, something happens when you turn 35. I don't know what, but all of a sudden you can't be on birth control and smoke cigarettes. So I was like, well, I'll just figure that out later. I'm still young. I'm still in my 20s, in my early 30s. Like, I got plenty of time. Well, let's fast forward to 2017. So in 2017, I was around 38 years old. So this was like 20 years later. And at this time, I had found yoga. I had just started practicing yoga. So as you could imagine, I was paying or starting to pay a lot more attention to my body, to my mind. Plus, I was falling head over heels into the whole yoga culture. Um, like drink the green juice, organic everything. Don't ever take prescriptions, they'll kill you. And, I just fell all into that. Like, I need to be all natural all the time. But at the time, I was still married, I was still on birth control. But not too long after I started my yoga practice, I got a divorce. And then once I got a divorce, I was like, oh my God, like I do not have to be on birth control anymore. Like I don't have to worry about getting pregnant. I'm not trying to worry about all that. So I got off. I was like, okay, I'm going to be done with the birth control. I'm going to be all natural and things are going to be great. So again, I was around 38, 39, and I didn't really notice any symptoms or anything happening when I got off of birth control. Like, I don't even really remember them telling me. I don't know if I just got off and didn't tell my doctor and just didn't go back for the refill. I don't really remember, but um, I got off of it. And then I'm just living my life doing yoga. And there's one symptom that I did notice. There's not even a symptom, it's a thing that I noticed when I got off the birth control. And honey, that was that my sex drive came back in full force. And I was like, go figure. Like, you finally get off birth control because you're not planning on having sex, and then your sex drive goes through the damn roof. So that's where I was. And it's crazy because even at the time, I didn't even realize like what birth control was doing. So the whole point of birth control is to stop you from ovulating. So you don't release that little egg and then you don't get pregnant. And then of course, if you're not ovulating, your emotions and all the things that go along with ovulation aren't going to happen because you're just kind of even keel the entire time. So I didn't even learn that until way after that. I had, at this point, so I got off birth control, I had been on it for 20 years. Okay. So the sex drive comes back. I'm feeling good. I'm newly single, honey, and I'm ready to mingle. And one time I accidentally mingled a little bit too much at a bar. Ended up having a one night stand ish, and that turned into a 6 year relationship. Whoops. So here I am in a brand new relationship, and I'm like, oh hell, I got to get back on the birth control again. So I did. This time I chose an IUD because I was like, just give me something that I don't have to think about. I'm tired of this, trying to remember every month and all that bullshit. I ain't got the patience. Just do not want to get pregnant. But this little round of birth control was pretty short lived because I think I had already started to tap into, how I felt without it. And as soon as I got back on birth control, my sex drive kind of started going down. And like, I just noticed that I felt different this time around. And at the same time, I was also kind of dabbling in sobriety a little bit. So I was really paying attention to my emotions and, how certain foods affected me and how I felt. So I was kind of super aware of what was going on in my body. And I was like, this birth control has got to go. Like, I'm going to do it au natural, for real this time. I am going to get off of it and be done forever. So I did. Out comes IUD. Lord, that hurt. And so here I am in a fairly new relationship, still having sex, don't want to get pregnant. Okay. So I was like, what do I do? How do I not get pregnant? Like, it is crazy, y'all, but I'm not lying when I tell you I was almost 40 years old and I didn't even know like ovulation was a thing. I still didn't know that was a term. So I'm 40 years old and I start tracking my period for the first time in my entire life, which is crazy to me. Um, and again, when I started tracking it, I only knew, I mean, I said I knew the period because I was always, well, not always a constant, but I knew that was coming, but then I learned that the ovulation window is kind of like, uh-oh, watch out. Don't fuck around right here because you might get pregnant. But still, I was like, okay. I was just tracking according to that and then trying to, manage my cycle that way. So since I was like on this new, I'm going to be natural, you know, all natural woman, I found a functional doctor that was nearby. So I never had like one OBGYN. I just kind of hopped around based on where I lived. So I found me a woman that specialized in women's health. She was right up the street from me. And I went to her, not because of my hormones. I didn't go because of my cycle or any of that stuff. I think I was just like curious what, this type of doctor, because it wasn't a traditional medical doctor, it's what they call a functional doctor, had to offer. And so I told her my age, filled out all the questions. Yes, I'm off birth control and all the things. And she's the one suggested that I get a full blood panel and that I also do a cortisol test, which was like this spitting thing that you do for like 3 or 4 days, morning, noon, and night, to see when your cortisol levels are highest. And I was like, all right, I did all the tests, and this was during COVID. So we scheduled an online Zoom meeting or whatever. Girl, I was blown away by this woman. So she comes to me with all my results, but she's not even going over that. Instead, she has this chart, several charts actually, of like hormones, of like the hormone cycles. And it was like very scientific. So she even had like these little hormone like molecules that had all like, in chemistry where it's like all the little molecule pieces that go together. I mean, it was a lot. Damn, Nat. It was a lot of information. Um, but I was eating it up. I nerd out on this kind of science stuff. Hang on, I need to get me some drink. My throat's feeling a little dry. Hold on. All right. Anyways, I was nerding out, girl. On all this was the first time in my life, other than that little bullshit in elementary school where they like show you a picture of a penis, and you start laughing and giggling. Like, now they're actually talking about what's happening in my body. And I was like, oh, wow. She didn't use the word perimenopause. I think she said something like, as you get older, your hormones start to change. And I was like, okay, like, I don't even know what they're doing now. So if they change, I wouldn't know the difference. And so she did prescribe me some progesterone. And she told me to take it on day 14. I was tracking. I knew what day 14 was. I had no idea why day 14. I just thought that was some magic number they made up. And she also suggested that I take some dandelion tea to help my liver process excess estrogen and probably other things. And I had told her I was newly sober, so she's probably like, your liver's fucked. You need extra support. So I tried the tea. Um, Honestly, I think you're supposed to drink like 2 cups a day or something. And like, I like honey in my tea and my sugar tends to go crazy. So the tea didn't work out that great for me. Cause it was just going to have to be, and I didn't notice a difference. I mean, maybe my liver did, but, and then eventually I also, sorry, Wilma is over here. Look, y'all want to see Wilma? Wilma is over here licking up a storm. I think she's upset that I'm on the video. And she's like, Mama, who are you talking to? I need your attention. It's okay, honey. It's okay. All right. You get over here. So, I didn't do the tea. Progesterone. Here was my experience. I took it. And again, I didn't know what it was supposed to do. Even though she was a great doctor and she did explain, I was just like, okay, I'm going to put this cream on and, feel better. But I noticed with progesterone, I got really itchy. So once I started taking it, that second half of my cycle, I started developing all these crazy rashes. Like, I had this massive rash on my stomach, and I even had to go to a dermatologist for that. Um, and I read somewhere that you can be allergic to progesterone, either the kind that they give you or your own progesterone. And I would just get really itchy in the second half of my cycle. So I stopped taking it, and I think I moved anyways, and I stopped seeing her. So I had a little stint of HRT. And honestly, I don't remember if I was experiencing symptoms back then. I'm guessing that I was, but you got to remember, I was newly sober. So I was like, oh, well, I'm just going crazy because I can't drink. I'm mad, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm angry, whatever. I didn't really connect the dots if I was experiencing things. I mean, um, that I was actually experiencing perimenopause symptoms per se. Um, so what happened though during this time? I started journaling. Again, it was mainly to help me just process my emotions, what I was dealing with. I had also left the corporate world not long before that. And like I said, I'd gotten a divorce and my grandmother just passed away. I had all this stuff that was just happening all at once. And journaling every day was something that I really came to love because I can just get it all out and, process how I was feeling. And then sometime along the way, um, I started putting the days on the top corner of my journal. So I'd be like, this is day one, started my period. And I would just do that, not really. So I'd say I journal every day. I journal probably 95% of the time. So I had a good, and I did this for you. I still journal every single day. So as I did this and I was writing down the day of my cycle, slowly I started noticing patterns. And I was like, damn, like it's day 19 and I'm pissy. So day 19 has historically been my pissy day. It's changed since then. But I was like, I'm pissed the fuck off. Or, of course, the 2 or 3 days right before my period, I was like, the world is ending. Why am I here? My life is pointless. All the things. So I was just starting to kind of notice some emotional things and maybe the itchy things. There were certain days that I was itchy. I think it was like day 22 or 23 that I was kind of itchy. I still didn't think much about it. I wasn't like, oh, well, that's cycle related. I mean, I started to see a pattern, but I didn't know about estrogen, progesterone. I didn't know about any of the hormones. And so I was like, I mean, I'm just going crazy. Like, I guess I don't know. I'm not eating something right that's causing all these symptoms. Or, I just need to take better care of myself. And I just didn't understand that it could possibly be hormones. So I did, though, I knew it could be, I didn't understand hormones, but I was like, this has got to do with my cycle somehow. Like, it's repeating too often. So I found another functional doctor because I had moved. So there was another functional doctor that was closer to me. And this time I went specifically for hormone advice. I was like, girl, test my hormones. I know they're fucked up. I still didn't know what perimenopause was or if it was a thing. I didn't know that term. But I was like, something is going on because every month on this day, I experienced this. She tested my hormones and she was a great, great doctor. She also suggested, like, let's try to get off of gluten and let's try to get off of sugar and, take dairy and take away all the things you love. She suggested a whole bunch of supplements, which, magnesium and a multivitamin and all the things. which were helpful because I know I wasn't eating the right stuff to get those supplements in. But I kept going to her for, I don't know, maybe a couple of years. I would go every 3 months or 4 months. She'd test my hormones, and like they kept coming back normal. And I was like, I don't feel normal. And that was so frustrating to me because I mean, I think at this point I kind of started searching as I was meeting with her. I started searching or hearing about perimenopause somewhere along in there. And one time I just straight up asked her, I was like, don't you think I'm in perimenopause? Like I'm experiencing all this stuff. And she's like, no, you're still having a cycle every month. Your blood tests are fine and you're too young to be in perimenopause. And I was like 43. Um, I don't fault her for saying that. There's a lot of, in the medical world, they are really lagging behind just in that Claire doctor. I can't remember her last name. I'm listening to a book that she did, but they just don't, all they know is your cycles become irregular and you have hot flashes, but there's not a lot out there for them to say, oh, you're experiencing this. Like if you're experiencing anxiety, they're like, here's an anxiety pill, not like, oh, it could be perimenopause. Anyways, so I'm not faulting her. She was just diagnosing me based on the medical research that is out there. Um, But so at that point, I was like, fuck, man. Like, it's not my hormones, and I'm going fucking crazy. Like, I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. I don't know what to do anymore. I've tried eating right. I've tried all these supplements. I think she gave me some progesterone. I had the itchy thing again, and it made me dog tired. And I was like, I just don't know what to do. But I kept journaling and I kept writing down my symptoms. And then, you know, I kind of started blaming everything else in my life. Cause I was like, well, if it's not hormones, then what is it? So I was like, oh, it's because I'm stressed at work. Oh, it's because of my relationship. Oh, it's because of whatever. Like, I was like, what is the reason? Why do I feel this way? And why can't I feel better? Like, I was so frustrated. Um, but I kept paying attention to the cycles. And then even my boyfriend at the time, like he heard all about it. I was like, oh, I'm experiencing the symptom. And, I mean, it's a man. They don't get it. So he was just like, okay, whatever. Like, you're pissy again. What's new? And so I felt just like dismissed by everybody. And I wasn't talking to any of my girlfriends. It's not like I was calling my girlfriends like, hey girl, do you cry randomly? Or you just feel like your life is pointless a lot of times? Or, do you get so mad you feel like you could literally kill somebody? I mean, I just felt so alone and like betrayed and like I didn't know where to go. Like I went to the doctor. um, I had been seeing a therapist, like I was, doing that kind of thing. And I was just like, I don't, like, nobody would validate how I felt. And so then, me and my ex, we broke up. I moved to another place. And then I really started last March, so in 2025. I was still experiencing all these symptoms, but I was starting to research more about what was happening. And it just hit me one day. I was like, I'm going to have to take charge of my own health. So I did. And I was like, I'm going to start a daily journal, a brand new journal where I write down the date and then I write down what day of my cycle I'm on. And specifically for this journal, I just jot down, it doesn't have to be in paragraph form. How do I feel? Physically, emotionally, whatever. And are there any extra like stressors happening, like work is super stressful or some shit like that? And so I started doing this. I started journaling out my symptoms. That way I wouldn't have to flip through my big journal and read through all this stuff. Um, And I have done that since then. So I have over a year's worth of data. I mean, this is my little journal. I just do like a day. I just do a section for each day. So it's not this big thing. Some days are longer than others. Um, it has been so insightful. And the other thing that it has been for me is so validating because I'm like, I am not making this shit up. I can look through my hormone diary, whatever you want to call it, and I can see exactly what's happening, when it's happening. And then when I experience that symptom again, I'm like, okay, like this is just kind of part of the cycle. Not that it doesn't suck, like being depressed or having rage or whatever still sucks, but at least you're like, okay, I'm not going crazy. And I wasn't. Thank God. But then when I started doing, so I love to learn about the human body. Like, it is so fascinating to me. So then I started documenting my symptoms. And then I was like, what causes this? So I'm like, okay, my boobs are tender on day whatever. What is causing this? And I would research it. And then I was like blown away by, what the science says behind it, or why am I having brain fog, or why do I have this rage day? Why 2 days after ovulation do I feel like I just want to crawl into a hole and die when it's supposed to be my energy time, right? Um, so that's when I started learning about the major hormones and then how our cycle works because nobody told us about how all these hormones fluctuate. And it still is fascinating to me, and I'm still learning more and more and more. So that brings me to right now. Um, in June of 2026, I'm sitting here talking to you, telling you about my story. Um, and let me be clear, I'm not here to tell you that I have some magical answer to your perimenopause symptoms. Yes, there are things we can do to support our bodies, eating certain things and exercising, and yes, there are things that we can do, but I'm just here to let you know that it's perfectly natural for you to be experiencing these things, that you're not going crazy. And I have found that acceptance is one of the best ways, like where to start. Like, okay, I'm experiencing this thing, and now what? Versus like attacking yourself, like, oh, I must be going crazy. And then you go into this crazy thought loop, just talking shit about yourself when really it's something happening hormonally in your body. But I'm not a doctor, clearly. I'm a CPA. I can help you with taxes, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not pretending to be. So always talk to your doctor about this stuff. And I'm not a mental health professional, but I am passionate about the mental health side of perimenopause. And so, um, I'm just a 47-year-old woman going through the perimenopause right here with you. And I'm figuring things out as I go. But what I wish so badly is that somebody would have told me all this stuff years ago. Like, I'm pissed that they didn't tell me, like, in high school. I mean, like I said, I had a sex ed class in freaking like fifth grade. Like, why didn't they teach me this in high school? Why isn't there a class in college? Like, I'm just so frustrated with the whole system. And then doctors, right? I mean, they don't have time, and that's just how the system is built because they're like, get you in, what's wrong with you? Here's a pill, go on. But not all of them. Um, but it's just so frustrating. So that's why I'm doing this because I want to share with you what I've learned about my symptoms, how the hormones impact those symptoms, and um, I think that there are things that we can do in addition to the teas, the tinctures, the protein, the magnesium, all of those things are great at supporting the body. But I want to really focus on, like I said, the mental health aspect of perimenopause. So if you're experiencing some crazy ass brain fog, or you've got some rage and you're just fucking irate and you're ready to literally punch somebody in the throat, you can take all the magnesium you want to. You can rub on all the wild yam cream everywhere and all that. That is not going to help you with that symptom right there in that moment. But I have some things that can. So, one of the things that I have really found to be super helpful, I mean, in my sobriety journey, and now it's transitioned as a helpful tool in my perimenopause journey, is EFT tapping. And if you're not familiar with EFT tapping, it's this wonderful, wonderful tool. It's an affirmation process. So, super powerful affirmation process, but you begin by accepting and acknowledging how you feel like in that moment. So it's not like, let's pretend that we're all positive polys, because that's not the truth and nobody wants to hear that shit. When you like have rage, nobody wants to hear get over it. So a tapping script would be like, yeah, I have rage and it's uncomfortable and I don't like it and I feel like I want to hit somebody. So you acknowledge how you feel, which is so important. And then as the process goes on, you kind of flip to these positive affirmations, which can retrain your thoughts and kind of redirect your thoughts into more positive thinking, kind of get you out of that thought spiral. So I love EFT. I can't wait to share that with you. And then the other thing, of course, is gentle, what I'm calling yin-ish yoga. And when you think about yoga, I think so many people, the first thing that comes to mind is it's a practice for the body. Yeah, it is. But when I talk about yoga, it's all about the mind. I don't give two shits if you can touch your toes. I don't care if you're flexible or not. I don't care if you can do a handstand. I don't care about any of that. What I care about is how you feel mentally when you're done with your yoga practice. The classes that I offer are very supportive, they're slow, and if you're familiar with yin yoga, you will know that yin yoga, you kind of hold a pose for a little while to really get the benefits. And then sometimes yin yoga is associated with traditional Chinese medicine and the meridians. I love to incorporate meridians into my yoga practices. If you're not familiar with the meridians, they're just like these energetic lines in our body. I'm going to have a whole separate podcast about that, but they control physical symptoms, emotional symptoms. So if they get out of balance, you can some of these symptoms can kind of creep in. So I'm going to be combining both science and kind of some spirituality woo-woo. Similarly, the chakras. So same thing, chakras, there's 7 main chakras. They govern different energetics of our body, both physically and mentally and emotionally. So I'll pull those in whenever I can. But both these EFT tapping sessions and the gentle yin-ish yoga sessions that I'm creating are 100% designed for specific symptoms in perimenopause. So right now, out on the YouTube, you can go on over and find, I have 3 videos up for brain fog. There's a little chat talking about what's going on with your hormones. There is an EFT tapping session that you can try right now and get relief from that. And then there's a yoga session as well that you could use for brain fog, but really anytime you need some yoga, you can hit play on that. So if any of this was a long, long story, but I wanted to share it because I feel like, especially if you're early in your perimenopause journey, you might not understand what's happening. Or maybe you're kind of far along, but you still don't understand all the hormones and all the things. Or you're just looking for some support, something to help with your mental health so you feel like You can find a little peace and ease as we transition. This is a big phase of our life. Well, once again, my name is Crystal. If you have stuck around this long, I'm so glad that you're here. And I am building a content library on YouTube. I'm new to this, y'all. I don't really know what I'm doing, so you'll have to bear with me with technological glitches and all the things. But my intention is to release new content every week. I'm aiming to do that on Fridays. And I would also like to tell you, if you have any questions about any of this stuff, I love to talk about it. So please feel free to reach out. There's a little message feature now on the YouTube, so you can message me or you can leave a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts, what this has looked like for you, or if you have a symptom and you're like, girl, you need to talk about this one, then send it over and I will be glad to create some content around it. So once again, thanks for being here, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye.